Today I'm going to be showing you how to make one of my favorite holiday cookie recipes. You ready? Soft and chewy vegan ginger snap cookies. Oh boy, are these good. Now I know traditionally ginger snaps are crunchy, that's why they're called snaps, ginger snaps, right? But these are amazing. They have the same flavor profile, but yet they're chewy and soft and big and amazing. I can't wait for you to see them. All right, let's get started, super easy. First we start with our egg replacer, which is just ground flaxseed with some water. Ground flaxseed can be found really easily online, but can also be found in stores like Whole Foods. Make sure you get the ground flax seeds, not the whole ones. That just needs to sit for a couple minutes and gelatinize. In the meantime, let's mix our dry ingredients. Starting with some gluten-free all-purpose flour. So gluten-free all-purpose flour, of course, means that these cookies are also gluten-free, which is a bonus in case you have any friends or family members that try and avoid gluten. But the extra bonus is that you would never know in a million years that they're gluten-free. You cannot tell. So we have some oat flour and gluten-free all-purpose that I just put in. Then we have our spice mixture. This is what is gonna give these cookies such a marvelous Christmassy holiday flavor. We have our cinnamon, ground cloves, and ground ginger. Now you can find the full recipe on audreydunham.com. Next we have some baking soda, and the last of our dry ingredients, just some salt. I think all cookies should have a really nice balance of sweet with just a little bit of salt. That's my perfect cookie. Give it a nice little stir. Finally, we have our wet ingredients. This will go into a slightly larger bowl, just like this one. We have some light brown sugar. And I know what you must be thinking. Brown sugar isn't necessarily a wet ingredient, but it's gonna be going in with our other two wet ingredients. It's just a typical thing you usually do when you're making cookies. You mix the sugar with the butter. So it's not wet, but it's still getting mixed with the other wet ingredients. And finally, molasses.
Don't spill your molasses.
Oh yeah, thanks. that could have been bad. Now the combination of molasses with brown sugar is the key to soft cookies. So pretty, love it. Next we're gonna use either a hand mixer or a stand mixer to mix this up. I always go the old school route and use a hand mixer, but you can do either one. Okay, let me do that a little bit more gracefully.
I like it.
It'll look like that once it's all mixed together. Next we'll add our ground flaxseed and water mixture and then just mix again. Just for about 10 seconds or so. Looking really beautiful. I love it. Let's grab our dries. Just start by adding about half the bowl. If we add all of it at once, it would be a giant floury cloud in here. So we're just gonna start with half. It's also a good idea to start mixing on low. Finally, our second half of the flour mixture. Once again, start low. Things are gonna start getting really thick and hard to mix. You just keep going. And there we have it. Thick, gorgeous, beautiful ginger snap dough. Next, we wanna clear everything out of the way. We're gonna create a little cookie making station here. You need to grab 2 baking sheets lined with parchment paper. I'll provide the link for parchment sheets below. They are a lifesaver. If you get the parchment paper in a roll, it can be a very frustrating experience. But of course, if you have non-stick baking sheets, you don't need the parchment paper at all. I like it because it means easy cleanup. We also need a plate with some granulated sugar on it. Let's scrape down the sides, make sure all the flour is incorporated. Now this recipe makes 16 pretty large cookies. They're so fun, I love these. Roll it into a ball, okay. And then we take that ball and completely coat it in our sugar. You wanna make sure you get the entire dough ball covered in sugar. Place it on our baking sheet. Just 15 more to go. This is such a fun recipe to make with kids, especially this part where you get to roll the cookie dough in sugar. Honestly, how can you beat that? Now it's really important that you really space these cookies out because they spread. You want at least 3 inches in between each cookie. So if you feel like you need to grab a third cookie sheet, then do it because it's not worth the risk of having them run together. So if you run into the problem where you don't have enough cookie dough to make 16 cookies, here's a little trick. Take some of the bigger cookies that you see, and then you just pinch some of the cookie dough from the bottom. And you might want to do this with about 4 cookies or so until you have enough to make a whole nother cookie. Now the same will go if you've made your cookies too small and you have some extra dough after forming 16 balls. Just take the extra dough, take the little pieces, and then add them right to the bottom, just like that. And then you'll never know, they'll just bake right through. So ultimately you want to end up with dough balls that are slightly larger than golf ball size. All right, look at that, 16 cookies. Gonna bake them in a 375-degree oven for 10 minutes, not a minute longer. Otherwise, they might get a little brown around the edges, and that's just not what we're looking for here. We want really soft and chewy cookies. That 10-minute mark is just perfect. Now, I will say, if you did end up making smaller cookies, go for about 8 minutes instead, because they don't need as much time. Okay, going in the oven. Okay. Now, thankfully, I don't have to wait those 10 minutes because I made some earlier today to show you. These are perfect cookies to leave for Santa Claus, I will say. I really think one of the best things you can give a person is some homemade cookies just like this. And now it's time to eat one. Just so soft. Amazing. It tastes like the holidays to me. That's delicious. I can't recommend them anymore. They are so good. Dairy-free, egg-free, gluten-free, but you would never know it. These are a treat, trust me. If you try them, please let me know what you think in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. If you haven't done so already, please like this page and then also jump on audreydunham.com to find more amazing vegan and mostly gluten-free recipes. Thanks again for joining me. I will see you all next time. That's good. Okay. And then finally, we have musical toys in here. I knew that we had the clock turned off, but.
If it's not that, it's something else.
Yes, I know. And that sugar is so pretty. And the good thing is that after these cookies are, son of a bitch, I was wrong. Cut that out, Andrew.
Keep it in.